Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is going to be a quick little video on how you can make the random weapon box spawn in different spots and move around, kind of like Call of Duty Zombies does. So, let me just show you. I have these three different spots here. These are the three possible locations, and it will pick one of these three. So, when I hop into the game, it's right there. If I hit play again, it's over there. If I close and play it again, it's right there again. So, it's just picking a random spot every time. And I will show you how to do that. So if you want to go to HGT and then weapons and then random weapon box, this is where the random weapon box blueprint is. And what I did, I just right clicked and created a new blueprint class and called it random box locator PP. And it doesn't have anything inside. I just set a little box like a cube, this shape of the magic box, and I just put text above it called weapon box locator, and this is the front. It's basically just for your benefit of seeing it, and then just make sure you come over here and set it to hidden in the game. So it's somewhere over here. Set hidden in game right here under for each of these. That way this doesn't spawn, and also make sure it doesn't have any collision because you don't want it to block any collision. So I set it to no collision. And if it's in the way of like navigation, you can also set it to not block navigation, so that way zombies can walk through it. But that's up to you. It depends on where you put in your random box. That's under affect nav. Ever affect nav? Yes or no? You can check that. So basically, these are just the spawn points. So once you drag those into your levels, like I got here, now we got to make it actually do something. So what I want to do is go into open up your random weapon box itself, and let's see, you don't really have to do anything except for create a new variable. So you come over here on the left hand side, click on variable, create a new one, and call it number of uses. Make sure it's set to an integer, and you can set a default. I set the default of 1, but this value is gonna get set by the actual game mode, so it doesn't really matter. But make sure the variable is set to replicated. So once it's set to replicated, if you scroll down to the very bottom of the blueprint down here where it says reset box, you can drag off of this is on and set the number of uses to number of uses minus 1. And then you just do a branch and check if number of uses is less than or equal to 0. And if true, then you want to right click and get game mode, drag off of it, cast to the gameplay game mode. And we're going to call this new event that we haven't created yet. So you won't be able to create this node yet because we haven't created it. So leave this blueprint open and we'll come back to it. Let's go to our HGT core blueprints, gameplay, and then gameplay GM. This is our gameplay game mode, and anywhere you want in here, you can just right click, create a new event. I called it set random weapon box location. And what you want to do is you just want to get all actors of class of the random box locator, this blueprint here. Get all those. Then you want to drag off and get the length minus 1. Then you want to do a random integer in range between 0 and that length. And you just get that value by dragging off of this and typing in get, and you just get a copy right here, and then you plug that in, and then you want to drag off of it and get an actor transform. And let's see, then you're going to spawn we'll come up here first you want to get the random weapon box reference, which is a new variable. So you'd have to come over here on the left hand side, create a new variable, and call it random weapon box underscore reference, and make sure it's set to random weapon box as the type here. So once that's set, you can use this is valid to drag off of this. Basically it's saying, do we have a reference to the random weapon box? And if so, then we're just gonna set its location. If we don't, then we're gonna spawn a random weapon box somewhere. So we'll start with the true or the is valid first. We'll come up here, we get the random weapon box reference, And we're just going to take this transform and set the actor transform to it, and then make sure it's set to teleport. That will just teleport the box. If there's one in your level already, it'll teleport the box to a random location. And then off of the not valid, if there is no random box in your level, you forgot to add one or something, then it will spawn a random weapon box at this transform. And then you want to make sure it's set to always spawn, ignore collisions. And then off of this one, you want to set the random weapon box reference by dragging off of this and setting that variable down here that we created. Set it right here. And then you drag off of the random weapon box reference here, and you want to set that number of uses to whatever you want. So this is how many times you hit the box before it breaks. So I just set it between 1 and 3. So you hit the box 1 time, it could change locations. You can hit it 2 times, it might. You can hit it 3 times, it might. You're never going to be able to hit the box more than 4 times because it's going to change locations between 1 and 3. So you can set these to promote these to variables and change them to whatever you want. Like in most games like Call of Duty and all those, they usually have it like 6 to 7 times. But for testing, I did a 1 to 3 just because I didn't want to have to hit it 6 to 7 times to test it. So that's on the bottom part of this not valid pen. If it is valid, like I said, you set its transform. Then you also want to drag off and do the same thing. Set the number of uses to 1 to 3, just like below. So once you have that set up, that will set up the box move-in location logic and the number of uses. Then you want to just go back to the random weapon box blueprint, which is the actual weapon box. And down here where I said we didn't have the event yet, which is off of the reset box where we added all this, you just drag off of the gameplay game mode and type in set random weapon box location, which is that new event that we created. If it doesn't show up for you, make sure you come back to your game mode and compile and save, and then this event that we created will show up, and then you can call it right there. And then one last thing we have to do inside of the gameplay GM game mode is we have to come over to the begin play, and we have to call that set random weapon box location. So this right here is where you would call this new event that we just created. So that way when the game starts, it will spawn the random box in a random spot. And that will work for multiplayer, and everything is good. But also, let's see, double check and make sure that in your random weapon box, click up here on self, look in the detail settings, make sure it's set to replicate. You want to make sure the box is set to replicate. That way, if somebody joins the game late, then when they spawn in, the box will be where it's supposed to be, stuff like that. So if that box checked, then you should be good to go. And the locator box, it doesn't have to have anything. So I'm going to uncheck start with tick because it doesn't need a tick. It does not need to replicate or anything. It's literally just a placeholder to know where your box locations are in the editor. So then you just come into your editor, you drag these box location in here, and you can just duplicate as many as you want, and it will just pick between them. So I'm going to make this one float. I'm going to make this one float. And of course it didn't pick the one. I want to pick one of those that are floating. Let's make them all float. Just so you can see. There we go. So it's working. And then I'll show you with 2 players real quick. If we go on 2 players, I got server on the right, I got client on the left. Client sees the box right here. Server sees the box right here. You can hit the box. I'm going to see if we can hit it, make it change. Hit it once. I'm going to have to hit it again. The box disappeared and moved over to this spot. Same with the server. So that's pretty much it. I didn't go into any fancy sound effects or particle effects or anything, like Call of Duty and other games have, but I'll leave that up to you because that's just based on what you want your box to do and look like. But that will get it moving from place to place. But you can come down here where you change it, and just instead of like right here, this is where it actually moves the box. Before you do that, you can drag off and say, you know, play a sound, spawn some particle effects, shake the box around a little bit, make it float up in the sky, whatever you want to do. And then after it's done with that, then just call this, and this will make it teleport to a new location. And I hope that helps. Pretty easy cheesy. Thanks for watching.